So watching Tayla struggling with that buffalo thorn this morning was very entertaining, and Brent and I both sat there thoroughly enjoying ourselves watching what was going on, as well as most of the cameramen. You can see Tingana's not listening at all to anything that we're saying. He's found himself at a good spot now, away from the stick that is comfortable, and so he's having a good nap. But I'll show you the video of Tayla being stuck this morning. It was a situation where she kind of got herself into a tangle because she parked too close to the buffalo thorn, and that buffalo thorn, I think, has caught absolutely everybody. So this is Tayla being stuck. So she's now sitting there laughing at herself being stuck to a tree. The tree is gripping her. Luckily she didn't get her head stuck because she wasn't paying attention, almost walked straight into it. Now this is her trying to get herself off, and there we go. She's freed herself and off to the car, and she's busy laughing because Brent and I are laughing at her. You see, like, and then she says, she was asking me if I was videoing her, and I said yes, because she's always the first one to get her video out and or camera out and to start videoing everybody, and so the payback was good. And then she wasn't very happy with me at all and was a bit grumpy and jumped into the car and went. But don't worry, Tayla, at least your jacket survived. It didn't look like it ripped too badly. I've seen some Sisyphus attacks where you get kind of big gashes all over the place, and it's not ideal at all. So maybe a few little threads here and there is all good. But now, while we've been sitting here with Tingana, the guinea fowl started to alarm call, and so just in the distance on the top but right of where Tingana is sitting in a dead tree, straight in there on top, you can see a bird of prey that landed very, very close to this area. I thought maybe, just maybe, we were going to get lucky and Hosanna was going to be around, but instead it is a tawny eagle that has landed up on that dead tree, and so that's why the guinea fowls have been alarm calling, is because of this bird of prey that's been out in the open. The other interesting bird that we had come past while we were sitting here is a African harrier hawk, or Djuma, but a young one, a very, very young chick that kind of flew. It must have just fledged from the nest, and it was calling constantly, and that they do that when they first leave the nest. Excuse me, I had to sneeze there. There's all these grass seeds around, and so they call a lot when they leave the nest for the adults to come and feed them. Thank you very much, Nikki. So Nikki just said bless you to me, so thank you, Nix. And so they call a lot for the adults to come and bring them food. And so I wonder, we had that Djuma nest, or African harrier hawk nest, on Chitwa, that we never really actually saw the adults on the nest, besides the one time I went to Chitwa between the drives. I went to go and see Stefan, who was managing Chitwa at that stage, and their birds were on the nest, and I wonder if it's not that same chick that is now fledged and is actually flying about at Chitwa open area. It's, like I say, a very young bird still. It doesn't have any of its grey coloration whatsoever. It's still very brown, and lots of talking as it was sitting about, and very cool to see. So hopefully we'll see more of it around Chitwa as we go. But what I think we're going to do, is Tingana, did you just move? That's a surprise. I didn't expect you to move. He's busy licking his chops a little bit. As you can see, I think he got a little itch on his shoulder that he just groomed off quickly and had a little bit of a kind of, and your eye is open as well. That's amazing. He's actually moving. Karen, you're asking what would happen if a lion walked past him. Well, probably if he didn't see the lion coming, he would try and go as low as possible to try and stay hidden and just try and keep camouflage. But if a lion spotted him, he would run for his life and try and find a tree and get up into a tree as quick as possible. Are you now going to mow the lawn, Tingana? Yes, Tingana's now decided it's time for some grass. You'll find cats doing this every now and then. And there he goes walking off. So he could do with a meal, but he's not looking bad at all. He's looking much better than the last time I saw him, that's for sure. But he's now mowing the lawn. Got to keep his area clean. You know, Chitwa Dam has got a pristine appearance, and when you're living in the fancy retirement home, you need to make sure that you've got a mowed lawn in front of you. So he's just doing his bit. Since the buffalo haven't been around for a few days, he's got to kind of make sure that the growth from the rain is just trimmed off. But nice that he's up. I don't know how all of a sudden he just got up and started walking, so I'm not sure what his next move is going to be. It'll be interesting to see. And yes, exactly, Nikki, he heard that we were going to leave, and that's why he decided to kind of move us off, and to start moving so that we would follow him around. Jason, how far can a leopard hear? Ooh, I don't know. I think it depends maybe on the leopard. Maybe it's like us, where some people hear better than others and are able to pick up sounds better. But I mean, the answer to that is probably a lot further than we would ever know. And they pick up little rustles in the grass that we don't hear. They pick up vocalizing of other leopards or lions far from where we do, and so their hearing must be pretty good. It also depends on the sound that is made. So, if we talking different sounds, will have different wavelengths, which will carry different distances, and so something like a lion's roar as opposed to a mouse squeaking is two very different sounds, and what they can hear, or how they can hear those, and where they can hear them is also going to be very different. So I think it depends on terrain, humidity and air temperature. You'll probably find if there's cloud cover or not, if there is a situation where there is a lot of density of bush, as well as then what animal is actually making the sound will dictate how far they're going to be hearing it. So they have very, very sensitive hearing, but it just will depend on kind of what's making the noise and where, and all the surrounding terrain that dictates what goes on. Right, so let's just reposition ourselves so we can actually see him now that he's kind of tucked himself behind a bit of a bush that he's busy feeding on. So Tad 2012, you say he looks a bit stiff. Well, I suppose it does look a little bit. Maybe he's getting older, and so there will be stiffness that creeps in every now and then. But you'll probably find if he just walks a little bit, maybe a few kind of meters, that stiffness will go. Oh, bless you. You see, that's what happens when you eat grass, Tingana, is that you get the seeds up your nose and then you start sneezing. I know because we've been mowing down grass as we off-road lately, and the seeds come flying off and hit you in the face, and then you start sneezing and hay fever starts, and so you shouldn't really kind of be in the grass at the moment. Maybe it would be better for him to be lounging on a road or a termite mound somewhere. I'm not sure he knows what he actually wants to do with himself at the moment. He's kind of grazing and moving about, but looks up every now and then and kind of just checks around, and so I wonder if he's going to find himself another spot to lie down. Looks like it. Yes, there we go, and down he goes. So that didn't last very long. Just decided to top up with some grass before he settled in again for the rest of the day. We're going to just go down towards Chitwa Dam and go and see what's happening there. We'll come back past Tingana just now, and while we do that, let's head you back across to Tayla, who I think has found those elephants that she was looking for.
Yep, we've got them elephants, that's for sure. And we basically just moved roads. We're back onto Gallagher shortcuts. We found the naughty boys, which we initially wanted to show you, but unfortunately ran away from us, who were being quite funny, in fact, pushing one another around, doing all those wonderful things that young elephants like to do best. Yes, come and play here. It's like are they dancing or are they fighting? I'm not quite sure if they're doing a tango or what the story is here. The one at the back is very good at reversing. Oh, there's a sneaky one. Ambush. Oh no, he cornered. Oh, this is honestly one of the best things to watch in the bush. You can't help but laugh and giggle and be happy around elephants, and they are very playful like this, which actually just elephants in general. So yeah, they've been having a good old time. All we've been hearing is branches breaking, and I knew it was from these three. Someone else is making some sort of noises behind us too, one of the cows, so I don't know what she's talking about. But they're all coming this way, which will be quite nice. I hope they all come around. Can you play with me as well? I'm feeling very left out this morning, very sorry for myself, because none of the elephants actually want to have a conversation with me like they normally do. They too occupied with one another. I think, though, these boys will come back up this way and maybe interact with us. And that's one of the most special things that the Sabi sand actually has to offer, is the way that the animals act around the vehicles. You don't get it in too many more places. I mean, I've been lucky and, worked in a lot of, in 2 other countries in Africa, and then worked around in a few places in South Africa. But here, it is just so special. I'm wondering, Seb, should I put my foot on the clutch and see if we roll down a bit more? I've moved quite far away. Come on, Seb. Look, it worked. That never works. Literally, every time we do that rocking motion, the car never actually goes forward, but we are. Anyways, off you go, I think, to Tristan to see what Tingana is up to.
So we have found a bird flying around, which is one that we don't see that often at all. It is a white-headed vulture that is flying in the distance. You can see those white window patches and then a white head when it kind of turns, and it's a big bird. And like I say, they're not that common anymore. We don't see them nearly as much as what we used to. And in fact, Brent and I were chatting about them, that they reckon that there's only about 15 breeding pairs left in the Kruger Park area, which is not very much at all. And so it's a nice thing to see. I saw one the other day, actually, funny enough, on Djuma, and then it flew away because our roof was in the way and I couldn't actually get it. And so it's kind of disappeared. But if you have a look, this is what the bird actually looks like. Let's try and get some photos of it. So it's a interesting looking character. It's got this kind of white head with this sort of bluey red beak, and it almost looks like a clown to me. I always think of a clown face when I see this. I don't know why. It just reminds me of that. And then you see the white kind of underwing area and white legs that you get there. Now, male and female are actually a little bit different. So I'm just trying to see if they've got a situation where we can see that. But there you can see kind of in flight how it works. Now, that would be a female, because the female has those... Oh, sorry, Craig, that was my fault. I pressed the wrong button. Now I'm just trying to find, there we go. So the female has those big white windows under the armpits. That's there, and you see the male has dark areas close to the body. So that's how you can ID the two, or the difference between the two of them. And very, very nice bird to see. That's absolutely awesome to have them. That's one thing, that if that elephant was to be sort of to go down and to die, that you would get amazing bird vulture activity. And you often get these guys, lappet face, Cape vultures, which are three of the vultures we see so seldom. It would be wonderful to kind of have them around. And you never know, maybe even that Egyptian vulture might arrive, given that it was seen actually yesterday, not that far from here. I mean, it's quite far as the crow, as sort of cars drive, but not that far as the proverbial crow flies. Good. Anyway, at least we got it on camera and you got to see all of it. Hopefully it's a new bird for some of you. And while we kind of carry on back down towards the dam, let's send you back across to Tayla and those playful Ellies.
Least you got it on camera. You're quite right, Tristan. No elephants. I don't know what I've done wrong today. No one wants to talk to me. You know what, Sebastian? It's fine. Let's leave these guys, because I've just seen the entire breeding herd is actually going to cross in front of us. And there's a teeny tiny baby. So I'm going to go forward. Stealth mode. Almost. Here they all come. Hi, another cheeky little elephant. Just wanted to move forward just a little bit. But we'll hopefully catch all the moms and the little ones. They're coming out now. They're moving quite quickly. Are we going to have elephants showering themselves at Galago Pan? I think so. I think that's definitely what's going to happen. Walking very slowly. No one wants to talk to us. Not even this young cow. And they're particularly cheeky normally. Oh, here we go. I think should I do the slight roll? I'll help you. We'll go very slow and steady. There we go. And I'll stop here. Gentle. But I do want to, once this elephant passes, Seb, I think we must race to the water. What do you think? So we'll let this little one cross the road, and then we'll Ferrari safari without knocking any elephants. We'll go in between their legs, and we shall go towards Galago Pan, because I think that's exactly where these elephants are going. I actually just want to call in on the radio. Stations a large breeding herd of elephants mobile towards Galago Pan, one unlock. Just because it's been very quiet today. Okay, let's go. Oh, there's a baby! We will, though. We will totally reposition now, Nikki. Oh, that's a very, very young little elephant. We're just going to have a quick look at it, and then we'll... Oh, so sweet. Going towards the water. I think we'll have a great sighting there. We'll watch it quickly, because that's so small. Oh, that's probably only a couple of weeks old. Maybe 2 weeks old? It does have a very wrinkly forehead, doesn't it? Oh, shame. It's like Benjamin Button. Do you remember him? He was so cute. He also had such a wrinkly forehead. Of course, Benjamin Button, this can't be him, because that was ages ago, and he's probably grown up into a little bit of a bigger elephant now. Oh, so precious. Okay, well, we're going to race around now and try and get to Galago Pan without any obstacles in the way. Off you go to Brent to see if his tracking has paid off.
Unfortunately, the last spot we had confirmed sign of that Ellie was in a very, very thick, very, very nasty block. So we're just doing bigger loops to make sure he hasn't crossed out. Say, you would think tracking an elephant's an easy thing, but not when he's been mixing with a herd like he was yesterday. Tracking one individual out of there can become very, very tricky. So we just saw leopard tracks now, but they've crossed into Torchwood. It looks like Hasana. And then Aubrey had his tracks going south earlier, so I think we're a bit behind on these ones. We also had tracks of a single lioness, probably the one that was seen on the dam cam, heading towards Buffelshoek Dam. We've checked Buffelshoek Dam and nothing there, so we're just going to do one quick shoot back down to Buffelshoek, and then we're going to head back to around Central, to where we last had that Ellie. I've got a suspicion that we're probably going to have to come out after drive on foot and walk into that block to try and find that Ellie, but we'll be very careful, don't worry. But I have to admit, I agree with Tayla's dad. I don't understand the ripped jeans costing more. One, buy a cheap pair and then cut them yourself. And meanwhile, it sounds like Tayla's having lots of fun with the Ellies.
Yeah, Brent, I think you and my dad would probably get on very well, as you seem to agree on similar things. How cool is this? Isn't this amazing? Look who's going to come and say hello. Hello! Maurice, it's your family! Yay! Do you also want to watch them? Maurice can, of course, watch the elephants too. Just taking a moment to relax, and shall he wave? I don't know how to make him wave. I've got to use two hands. Hello, elephants. Hello. That does look quite cool, though, hey? Should we get him side on? Oh. Okay, Maurice, go away. Go back in your cupboard. Oh, that's so cool. Look at all the elephants racing in like they've never drank water for a year. Oh, they're funny, but there's always a lot of commotion when you get so many elephants like this around a dam. They're all smelling the little baby. Seb, do you see that? Yeah. There's the tiny little one, even though it doesn't actually look that small. Dwarf between those big legs. But that's the very, very small one we had a look at, and look how curious they are at it. Are you going to go in? Oh, that's a precious face. They're nice. You don't just have to have a hot day to see elephants coming down and having they're not having a swim, but having a drink. Oh, very cool. And there are still more elephants coming. So it's quite a big herd. I wonder if it's Fang's herd, although I haven't seen Fang. I'm actually just looking around. I think it's definitely the same group of elephants. Goodness, Seb, you can't almost fit them in screen, eh? They've completely surrounded Galago Pan. This is a man-made pan. Imagine having your coffee at the deck, which is just off to the left. How cool is that? And sitting and watching. See there's a lovely wooden deck with some chairs. No one's there, though. I'd be sitting there. So that's Galago Lodge of Djuma, private game reserve. Very nice. Yeah, very, very cool indeed. All having a little fight around the waterhole. Who's this? Young girl. She approaching quite sheepishly. Who's this? A bull. Did you say Marie or Anne-Marie? Anne-Marie. Oh, AB, not even close. AB, you've asked if Sensor has actually picked out Maurice's outfit. You said it's quite stylish. No, that's not actually me. Sometimes I have a little bit of style too. Not my own, but I can dress an elephant, let me tell you. And Sensor's actually on holiday at the moment. He's gone back home to the East Coast to visit his family, his wife and his kids. So he'll be quite happy to be there. But we'll get his approval. We'll see what he says and how we can improve Maurice's outfit, being the not the fashion diva, but the fashion guru in camp. Well, there we go. I'll just rest my head on 2 times elephants. Bull, big bull. No, he's not a big bull. He's a youngster taking advantage of the younger elephants. Leave him alone. They're just trying to have a drink, bullying that female. Look what a busybody he is. Coming through, testing all the females. The cows might get cross with him and chase him away. Now, Hello, girl. Would you like me to move? Or are you happy with me? You know, I'm going to move back just a little bit. Hi, girlie. I know, because you know what's going to happen is you're probably going to want to use the pathway, and I've parked on it, so I'm sorry. I'm going to move myself from the elephants just quickly. It's a tiny little calf that we've been seeing. A bull that's bullying some of the females already. So if he does charge and turn, I mean, that's how you can get yourself into situations. I'm not scared. She didn't show me any aggression signs whatsoever. I just want to give her room. And with so many, and she's come, what's he doing? Where do you want to go? Where would you like me to park, young lady? Ma'am, should I call her? I think I feel like I need to refer to her as ma'am. Are you going back the way you came? Oh, hello, girl. Hello, big girl. Now, I always talk to the animals, everyone, so sorry if you don't like it, especially elephants. I think it's important. They can pick up on your mood. So epic. All just funneling past. You hear them talking to one another too, so not only am I talking to the elephants, but they're talking to each other. We'll see one of those cows is the matriarch, perhaps the one with the very young calf. And deciding where they're going to be going next. That was lovely. They are very relaxed. Off you go, big girl. Most of the cows have actually moved on off. There's one or two that are left behind. I suspect that they'll keep going with the main group, though. And then we might just be left with that big bull and perhaps some of those other youngsters. You can see the bulk of them have gone off. See that cow there? Look, she's not tolerating that boy. And she might chase him if he causes nonsense. Now, is it Bitcoin Ninja? Is it Bitcoin Ninja Mining Man? They just give you a new name. You said that this is a nice video. I'm glad you think that this is a nice video. How cool is it that I get to spend my day searching for animals like this? It has taken, I can't tell you how many game drives or safaris to eventually find a decent herd of elephants that wants to stick around. The others are all hiding from me. Lovely. Wonderful. Now, Tristan has recently made a new discovery of a barn owl nest, and it seems as though he's gone back to it. Let's go see if the chicks are poking their heads out.
We have made a recent discovery of this barn owl nest, and we've come to check it out. And we saw movement very briefly, so we think that there is owls there, and that they are moving about. I don't know, I can't see very nicely. Okay, so Nikki says she can see movements. I'm sitting way away, way back. I'm not even on my driver's seat. I'm actually sitting next to Craig to try and get the light in the right place so that we can actually see what's going on. So if there's movement, that's really very cool. So our nest is still active as I thought it would be, and it's nice that we've got a certain spot that we can just get in. It's amazing. There literally is only one spot in order to see these guys. It's a kind of little gap between the tambutis that is a natural little hole, and it allows us just this perfect window into this nest, which is so cool. And to be able to see owls in a nest is a very special thing indeed. So we're very fortunate. Now I'm trying to get the light the best way that I can, that we can actually see in there, because it's very difficult. It's dark and dingy, and particularly today with the lack of light. I think the afternoons, I would love to come here on a sunny afternoon because the light should penetrate deep inside there. But is there movement there? Looks like there might be. So Craig says to me he thinks that there's definitely movement, and that's very cool. So Reptilian Research, you say that's the chick right there. You can see the movement. Well, that's awesome. I'm glad that you guys can see it. It's very cool. There's actually 3 chicks in total. So we managed to identify 3 different faces the other day, VM and I. So there should be 3 of them moving around inside there. And the adults should also be. By now, in this time of the day, you'd find the adults should be back and should be in that particular area moving around. So that's very cool. Super exciting that we've got these guys. I would love to know what gets brought back to this nest and what there is that kind of gets taken taken in and out. I'm pretty sure with 3 big hungry mouths, there's going to be a lot of work for this mother to try and get as much food in as possible. Cobalt, probably more than likely Hammerkop built this original structure, so they are the ones that often build these big shaggy nests like this, and then the owls have repurposed it for themselves, so they've used the bottom part of it. Very common actually to see. The other thing that builds nests a little bit similar to this, but I doubt that it is what built this particular nest, is a hooded vulture. They'll also build a very similar kind of nesting site, and you'll find that owls take over their nest quite regularly, or particularly giant eagle owls or rose eagle owls. And so I think this one was a Hammerkop, and then since the lack of canopy and the fact that it's right out in the open on a dead tree, maybe the Hammerkops have left it and have moved to a nest not far away from where we are, a little bit further to the west, and so this left it open, and the owls have now kind of taken over, and the barn owls have found themselves a perfect nesting spot. Isn't that cool? Amazing that we've been able to find a nest for these guys. I think it's absolutely awesome. So, Sammy Jane, you say you're trying to go to bed, but there's excitement at every turn this morning. There is, isn't there? There's been a lot of happening. So between Brent tracking this injured elephant, Tayla finding playful Ellies that she's absolutely loving, Tingana and an owl's nest, it is all very, very epic this morning. So we're having a good day. It's been a tough couple of days before this, so it's really good to have mornings like this where things just happen for us and we get to see cool stuff. Hunter, you say you have barn owls in Canada as well. This is so cool. It is amazing because the barn owl is one of the most widely spread bird species in the world. You find them pretty much everywhere. So you find them in Europe, you find them in Africa, Americas. I think they even go into Asia a little bit. I'm not sure about South America, but North America definitely, and like I say, Europe, lots and lots of them in Europe, and then also down into Africa. And so they are very widespread, probably the most widespread owl species in the world, which is pretty cool. And so a lot of you will be able to see these guys at home. They're a very, very, very pretty bird. The problem is that they've got the most awful call. It's the screech that they have, which is one that often can upset a number of people because of the amount of noise that they make. But how cool is that, guys? A little owl nest. I'm going to stop shining on it now because we've kind of just put a little bit of extra light in order to try and show you guys, and what I need to do is also try and get myself back onto the seat so that you guys can all see me again, because at the moment I'm kind of clambering next to Craig. There we go, you'll see me coming into picture again. Thanks, Craig. So that's very, very cool. We'll keep coming past you and keep checking and just monitor. Maybe we'll get to see the chicks getting bigger and bigger and eventually kind of see them maybe even sitting out somewhere. Imagine if we get to see the barn owls nice and out and in the open. The adult the other day was in the open. It was actually sitting on a tree very close to where I am. And that's how we spotted it, because it flew from one of these trees into that hole. And that's how we found it. Epic though. I'm very, very happy with that. So not only did we get Tingana, but we also got some owls, which is very, very cool. So, Randy Apple, oopsie, Jigger, don't lose your clutch now. So Jigger's been having a bit of a clutch issue, and so hopefully the clutch is not lost. There we go, all good. So if you spent an entire day here, yes, you might see what these owls bring back, but in all likelihood, they're quite shy, reclusive, secretive animals that you might find that the adult owl in particular just decides to kind of stay away if you're here. The best way to do it would be to get a camera trap and to put a camera trap up there, or a little camera that is powered by maybe some solar batteries, and then you'd be able to film what kind of gets brought back every day. So that would probably be the best bet, but at least we can kind of just keep coming and checking, and you never know, maybe we strike it lucky and one day we find the adult bringing something back in the early evening, or maybe really early in the morning. So we'll just keep having to monitor it and see what we get. Good. Now we'll go towards Chitwa Dam. We'll go and scratch around, see what we can find. Maybe there'll be some of our baby crocs, maybe a darter will be around. We know that there'll be hippos, and while we do that, let's send you back across to Brent so we can get an update on how that injured Ellie bull is faring and where it's moved off to from now. Well,
we're still searching for the injured Ellie bull. Now, we're just trying to find a bird them and I saw. But he flew.
So unfortunately, Brent has got some gremlin issues, so we're not going to get too much from him. But what we do have is some really nice birds on the edge of Chitwa Dam. So you can see the owl nest is very close to Chitwa Dam, and you've got some white-faced whistling ducks in the background, and then you've got a little green-backed heron that's just landed as well, with the white-faced whistling ducks. On the bottom of the branch there is our green-backed heron. And it looks like the same one we saw stalking in that epic light a few days ago, which is very, very cool. So there is a pair here with a chick at the moment, or a young one, that is flying around. The Tayla was telling me a very funny story about how it goes around catching sticks. So it's still learning that sort of how to ply its trade. But then we've got a bird right up close to us, which is a great white egret. And it is a beautiful bird. You can see black legs, big yellow beak, and beautiful white plumage. And this bird is busy hunting at the moment as well. And not often we get to see them as close as this. This individual is right on the edge of the dam and is being nice and relaxed. And so it's cool to be able to be as close as we are. And you can see that S-shaped bent neck. And so what these guys do is they edge forward and they sit dead still, waiting for any unsuspecting fish to move towards them, and then they'll push that S-shaped neck out and hit whatever is in the water and try and stab it and grab it. So it's a good place for it to fish. There's a little bit of structure around there in the form of that fallen over stump behind where it is a bit of grass, and so the fish do congregate here quite a lot. And so I reckon that if it's just patient enough, and we're patient enough, maybe, just maybe, we might be able to get it watch it maybe make a kill. So you see, look, it's looking, it's extending its neck just to see a little bit better and to be able to see what's going on and try and get itself into a better position. And what it's hoping is that if it sits for long enough and stays still for long enough, that maybe, just maybe, it might be able to get the fish to come a little closer, and then it can fly or spear them with that neck. Sorry, I was getting a bit distracted there because there was two green-backed herons that were actually chasing each other and shouting at each other. So there they go again. Look, they're going to chase each other again down the side of the bank. So one is landed on top and one is landed in the grass. And I want to see if they actually go after each other or if they've completely missed that they are there. So the other one is just a little bit down. Come down a little bit, Greg. There it is, just on the edge of the bank. And so they're chasing each other around, and it looks like a young individual and then an older one that's chasing it. So I wonder if maybe it's time for this chick to be pushed out by the adults and is being told that you are not welcome on this side of the dam. You need to find your own side in order to find food, and you need to find your own water point. Interesting though. The other one's disappeared behind that bush, so we won't be able to see what happens now that it's disappeared. Very cool. Our egret though is still kind of fishing away. Its neck has come right in now and is far more bent than what it was. So, Hunter, we don't get mallard ducks here. They are in South Africa, but they are a invasive species, so they're not supposed to occur here. They were released here and in South Africa, and they are taking over a lot of areas and actually are a big problem because they take over nesting sites and habitat for our indigenous ducks. And so their numbers are declining while the mallard numbers are increasing. So there's no mallard record for the Sabi Sands yet, but if their numbers increase, much like the Egyptian geese, where the Egyptian geese are just taking over, so you could see a situation where mallards do come. And there are mallards not far from here. So in Sabi, which is a town in the Drakensberg Mountains that's basically along the Sabi River, so it's pretty much in line with where we are if we had to head straight to the west. And that area on one of the rivers there are mallard ducks that are floating about, so they're not far from the Sabi Sands at all. A big storm or something like that and a lot of rain and maybe you get mallards actually coming into this area, which would be a bit bad. Good. Okay, well, our heron is going to keep going. Are you going to strike out? Looks like it might strike out. Sam, flamingos, I mean, it's difficult to say yes, we do have them because they're very, very, very uncommon bird to see in the Sabi sands. But yes, there has been reported sightings of flamingos flying over the Sand River and Sabi River, but very seldom do they actually spend any time. We don't have the right type of habitat for them and the right terrain and food sources. They're algae feeders, most of them, and so it's not really the best place for them. So not very common at all, but yes, there has been recorded sightings of flamingos in the Sabi Sand. Lesser flamingo, that is, not the greater flamingo. Good, let's carry on. Let's try and see if we can find one of our baby crocs. I feel like seeing one of our little baby crocodiles that is around. I think our egret is not really serious at this stage. It's still just stalking about, trying to get closer, and it's going to take it a while until it does. It's amazing to actually watch things like egrets and herons. I particularly like watching Goliath or purple herons because they get these massive things, massive big prey items, which is very cool. And saddled storks also another one that's amazing to kind of watch. Right, now while we sort of negotiate the bank, oh, there's our little baby crocodile already. Let's send you back across to Brent Leo Smith, and we'll try and get into a better position to film our little crocodile. And while we do that, I'm sure Brent is still trying to track that elephant and will have a better update for us.
Well, Tristan, never smile at a crocodile. So we are still trying to track the Ellie. Now, we've checked this area extensively, so the only thing I can think is maybe he tried to follow the herd. So I'm going to just, the herd came through here, so I'm going to just check it a little bit further to the north. There's been Ellie activity all around here, but as I say, trying to track an individual out of a herd can be very tricky. The vultures have moved off. These tracks actually, there's tracks of a single elephant bull here now on the road, heading in this direction. Now, Mimi would like to know, would the other elephants come, goes off there, comfort him? It's possible, yes, but we also got to remember that big musk bull around, he might have come to attack him again. So he's on top of our tracks there from earlier this morning. So maybe we're getting closer. And so we're doing this very, very carefully because injured animals can be very, very unpredictable. So they are more dangerous than non-injured animals. I'm hoping we find them before the end of drive. Now, a few of you are wondering, why would people interfere with this but not with certain other animals? Well, the main reason with an elephant bull that's injured like this is safety of the people that live and work in this area. I mean, we've got people on foot often, there's guests and whatnot. So you would probably find if this was in an area where there were no safari lodges and people weren't around a lot, they would probably just leave it be. But here it poses a big risk to all of us if that elephant is just left. And as I say, it could. And so at the moment, yesterday he wasn't aggressive at all, but once that infection sets in, and he could very much become very aggressive. And the thing is, it's not one of those injuries that you can treat, unfortunately. And it punctured the stomach cavity. It's almost certainly going to get infected, and once that happens, that animal will become very dangerous. Now, there's, I think, a misnomer perpetrated by the movies about vultures following injured animals or dying people. Hunter was asking, would they? Not really. I mean, the animal would have to be sort of on death's door and not even moving before they would sort of hang around for a while. So they wouldn't normally follow an injured animal. Actually, I'm sorry, I went blank there. I went quiet there for a second. I just remembered something. I haven't driven down this road since I've been back. and I want to go check. There's just around the corner, there's a hole in a tree that was a woodlands kingfisher nest, and then, unfortunately for the woodlands kingfisher, oh, look who's coming down the road towards us. Hello, Tayla. Hi, McCurdy. I'm always cold, yes. I've got all my blankets. No, it was not me. I'm never saying it's not cold. I'm always looking for warmth. So the last place we had the tracks of that Ellie was just through the drainage line in Yala Road South. You can see where he spent the night. But the rest of the herd came this way, and I was wondering if he didn't try to follow them.
I did see some interesting tracks over there.
Over there?
You know, you saw where I moved off the road.
Yeah.
A little bit of a drag mark, but I don't know if it was an Ellie putting its trunk down.
It could have been the stomach, yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll go have a look at it. Otherwise, I think we might have to go try find him after drive. So just for those who didn't hear what Tayla said, she said she saw some interesting tracks up the road. It could be that injury dragging along the road, that for the stomach and intestines. So we'll go have a look to see if it's him or if it was just an Ellie dragging his trunk, as Tayla said. Sebastian, what you doing?
I'm doing a thumbs up to Nikki now. Nikki said she wants to jump across to our car.
No, you can't go to Taylor's car because...
Well, how does it work?
No.
You grab the camera and do you swap cameras?
No, apparently we're supposed to throw you over. Just hang on, let me just... Here we go. We're going to throw you over to Taylor.
No?
No?
Oh, you're on our car now. Oh, we're waiting for Nikki to go live. Well, there we go. What's the magic trick this morning? Look at that.
Going over to Taylor, so enjoy.
Okay, we'll go this way. Bye. Right, everyone. Hey, aren't we so funny? I feel like we're all in the wrong career. We should be comedians. Right. No one would attend my tours, though, unfortunately. I'd just be talking to an empty stage. No, I'd be on the stage. The audience would be empty, just be chairs. Anyways, right. So off we go. I don't know what we're looking for now. We're just driving. Sebastian and I, if you must know, we were discussing breakfast because there's only 20 minutes left of game drive, and normally in the last half an hour, that's all the presenters and the cameraman can actually talk about, is what's for breakfast. Seb said he hopes it's not a fruit breakfast. And I agree with him because it's too cold to have fruit and yogurts, and even though we have like nice homemade mueslis and shaved coconut and flaked almonds, we're very spoiled, and now drizzled honey, soaked oats with whatever other ingredients you want. I don't want that either today. I would like an omelette is what I'm craving, or we could eggs Benedict with some asparagus, okay? Maybe even a little spinach. Roasted cherry tomatoes. Probably won't be roasted cherry tomatoes, but they're been in a pan-fried cherry tomatoes. Some onion, mushrooms. Breakfast bowls are big in camp. I mean, you just put everything in the bowl and we eat it like that. And then it must have cheese. Doesn't matter what type of cheese it is. Everybody in camp eats cheese with every meal of the day. It's a bit hectic. And half an avo. Oh, the fights in camp about who is going to have the other half of the other person's avo. Like, literally, there's almost been like death matches. Someone had to go to hospital once from claw. And I'm joking. I'm only joking. Oh, anyways, a story about the avo fights. Anyways, let's go across to Tristan because I think he's been involved in one.
Now, when we get into the fights about food at camp, things get a little bit serious. But anyway, it's all good. We thoroughly get spoilt with the food that we do get. Anyway, we're sitting on Chitwa Dam Wall and we're enjoying the scenery and a whole group of barn swallows that are taking it very easy at the moment. Well, they're all barn swallows except one on the far right in front. That is a red-breasted swallow by the looks of things. Yes, it is a red-breasted swallow that is all fluffed up there. And there's actually also is it a greater or lesser striped swallow also in there? I didn't even notice that until now. So there's 3 different species of swallows all together. Now it looks like a lesser striped swallow that is tucked up in amongst all of them, which is very cool. Now the barn swallows aren't going to be here much longer, unfortunately. It's almost time for them to start heading north, and they are going to rely on the magnetite in their brain, which is pretty amazing. So they've got a little substance called magnetite in their brain, and that magnetite will allow them to follow the Earth's magnetic fields and direct them as to where they need to go. Now, I also need to just correct myself, because it's a greater striped swallow, not a lesser striped swallow, that was sitting in amongst all of those, and I'm sure they'll come back and land now. They all just took off and flew, and it's because the little waterbuck came down with its mom, and I think that's just disrupted them a little bit. There they are. Hey guys, that's the cutest little waterbuck that we have. Now, Tingana's not far away, so we know how Tingana has a propensity to go after waterbuck and to hunt them, and I would imagine that this little waterbuck needs to be very careful during the course of today, because Tingana has been eyeing out the waterbuck over the course of the last week, and at some point he's going to get it right, and if he grabs one of them, he'll be happy to go after this little baby more than anything else. So that one needs to be very, very careful about where it goes and how it goes about its business at Chitwa. But they are really the cutest little things, and baby waterbuck have got to be one of my favorite baby animals. They're just fluffier than anything else. They are very high up on the fluffy scale, the fluffometer, and they definitely got to rate as probably one of the cutest animals that we have out here. Very cool to see, though. Now, for those of you that were wondering about the darter and at Chitwa Dam, he is around. I saw it just now. I don't know where it's gone. Actually, there it is right there. It's just on top of the dead tree, sitting drying off at the moment, so you can just see it on top there. Wings are out, typical darter fashion. They always sit like this with their wings out just to dry. When they've been fishing, things get all wet, and then they sit like that, wings open, tail extended, just to balance, and then also just to keep themselves nice and dry, which is good. So, Marco, you're asking when the last time we saw a Dracula heron was in this area. I don't know of this Dracula heron. Was it a specific heron that we saw that we named a Dracula heron? Or are you talking about a species of heron? Because if it's a species of heron, we don't get Dracula herons in South Africa at all. But maybe there was a specific heron that was seen by somebody that was named Dracula. I have absolutely no idea, and we'll try and kind of work it out. If you can give me a bit more information, I'll try and help and try and see if we can. So I believe Tayla and Brent don't know either, which means that I think we're all at a bit of a loss. So if it's a species of heron, no, we don't get Dracula herons in South Africa. But if somebody named a heron Dracula, then let me know so that I can be able to kind of work it out. But there's our little crocodile that's busy bobbing about in the water. So I believe Tayla has named this crocodile Snappy. Now I want to know from Tayla what the names of the other little baby crocs that we have at Chitwa are, because you can't just name one crocodile and then leave the others out. Then they don't get the same equal opportunities in life. You need a situation where all are getting the same treatment, and so if Snappy's got a name, the other two need to be called something too. So Tayla, don't discriminate. You need to make sure that you are fair to all the offspring of Vlad, and make sure that we name them all something interesting. So Tayla says she didn't know there was more than one, and that one has to be called Snappy, and I can name the others if I really want. Ooh, now you're putting me on the spot, Tayla. Maybe we should call them, I don't know, we need something that rhymes with Snappy for the other two as well, because we can't just have one that has this kind of cool little name and then the other two get something that's not ideal. So we need to come up with something that works for all three, and I don't know, maybe Tayla suggests that one should be called Gator. Now, Tayla, that's going to be a very bad idea, because then we're going to have a situation where everybody's going to think that we have alligators in South Africa, even though we don't, and so we're not going to name one Gator. Maybe, what do you think, Craig? What names do you want? Craig's always comes up with funny names of things, so we're going to ask Craig when he decides to eventually speak to at some point this morning. Then we'll get a name at some point. Now, Snappy just had a little friend walk past him, actually. He's a little common sandpiper. I just noticed it now, going past where he was. So there's a little common sandpiper with its tail wag and the big white C on its shoulder. So, Marcus, you're referring to the black heron. So, black herons in Sabi Sands? No. There has been one or two that have been seen on the Sand River, but not here in the northern Sabi Sands. I've never heard of a black heron being seen around Chitwa Dam or anything like that. You do get them, they're very prevalent in parts of South Africa, but in Botswana particularly, you find massive amounts of black herons in the delta. And so, here, unfortunately, not. We don't see them in our area very often at all. In fact, like I say, it's very seldom that they recorded. There has been a few recorded sightings on the rivers, but nothing up here at the dam areas. Not quite the right habitat for them. They're like wetland areas, and it's generally quite dry up here. So I believe a lot of you are sending through names for our crocodiles, which is a great thing. Didn't we do this once before? I feel like we named our crocodiles before. Snappy, Crackle and Pop. Surely it should be then Snappy, Crackly and Poppy. Maybe that's what we should call them, Snappy, Crackly and Poppy. Then they all got the little E on the end. Hello, little waterbuck. How are you? You are very cute. Now we're going to carry on. I just want to go pop in at Tingana quickly just to go and see what's happening. Now, are there any other names there, Nikki? Let's listen. Let's see if we can decide on a winner. So Jared's buddy, you say Snappy, Zippy and Snippy. That's fairly funny. I quite like those actually. What do you think, Craig? Yeah, Craig says yeah. That's not a surprise. Now, Patrick, you say Chomper, but we need two, Patrick. We need another one. So if you have Snappy and Chomper, then you can't leave the third one out. I quite like Snappy, Zippy and Snippy. That's quite a cool little trio of crocodiles. And hopefully they'll survive, because it will be... So Lou wants... Sorry, what was that, Nikki? Because Louise also comes up with some funny names, so I would like... Dundee. So we're going to have Snappy and Dundee. No, Dundee doesn't quite rhyme with Snappy. We'll need to find another crocodile to call that Dundee. We need something that kind of goes with Snappy, that makes it a little more kind of fun to say. And so that Tayla, when she says it, Tayla, when she says funny things, she always kind of gets her little shoulder wiggle and her hair goes all over the place. So we need something that she can say it and then wiggle hers as she does. Snappy, Croc and Pop. Maybe I don't know. It doesn't roll off the tongue as nicely. You need something that kind of rolls off the tongue. I don't know. Taylor's also going to have to weigh in on this, because she started this whole thing with Snappy to start with. So we're going to have to find out what Taylor thinks also about it. But maybe it'll work. Craig, have you thought about it yet, or are you still going to give me meh? He'll let me know. Okay, Craig's going to let me know. Craig's obviously the decider in all of this. He's the all-important figure. Now, is Tingana still lying where we left him? Yes, he has not moved a single muscle since we left. Snappy Jaws and Claws from Amanda. That's also not bad. I quite like that one too. But I still think Snippy and Zippy are my favourites so far. Like I say, we'll throw it to Tayla and Brent, and they can kind of come up with what they think as well. I know that Brent will go with, these hectic names like Vlad and Boris the Blade and Vlad the Impaler. Those are all Brent names. So he might have something quite entertaining for Snappy's counterparts, so that we know what they are. But like I say, Tingana is still fast asleep. He's in exactly the same place that we left him. In fact, he has not moved at all since we last saw him, and so I think we'll just carry on. I just wanted to come pop in and just see how he's doing, and if he was at least had his head up. But you can see he's very, very sleepy, and so we'll leave him for this afternoon and come back to him a little bit later and see if he's maybe going to be hunting that little baby waterbuck this evening. I'm sure it will be Brent and Tayla. Now, I'm apparently spying on Conrad fixing the gate at Inga's. So Inga's gate, unfortunately, suffered a mishap somehow. The gear on the gate system is not working very, very well, and we don't know why. It was working and then it just decided not to work. And so Conrad, who is an engineering genius, has decided to go and have a little look at it and see if he can help us fix it and get it working again. I'm sure if anybody can get it right, it will be Conrad. And why Brent is spying on Conrad and not looking for his elephant, I'm not quite sure. Back to work, Brent Leo Smith. is not time to be spying just yet, and it's also not time to be at home just yet. You've still got work to do, and you've got things to still find. There's a last-minute leopard maybe for Brent, not Tingana, but something else. Another leopard would be quite nice. I think Brent is going to also start going into withdrawals of leopard. Yeah, I suppose he's used to it from being in Kenya when he didn't get to see them that much. Now, talking of the man himself, let's send you across to him and find out why he's been stalking and watching and spying on Conrad.
Well, Tristan took so long, Conrad got into the car, and I've had to trap him. Quickly, 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 we're going to trap him now. There we go. Now he can't escape. There we go, there. There we go. It's not only Conrad, there's also Alicia. No, they can't run away. There we go. Don't run away from us, you shy people. There we go. Oh, they nearly... That's very funny. It was Conrad and Alicia trying to get away from us. Let's follow them, because they've got to get out of the car at some point. And so we've taken a break from looking for the Ellie. What we'll do is we'll go out after drive, and we'll probably try follow him on foot. So we'll see. Well, there we go. Taylor's also in the right position. We can trap them. Taylor, trap, stop them, Taylor. Quickly, Taylor, stop them. Oh, she's not listening. Stop them. Quickly across to Taylor. She was trying to catch them on the other side.
What is that illegal maneuver? Fine. Hold on, Steph. We're chasing after wild dogs. I can't get them. Meow. Like, too quick for us, I'm afraid. Go, Brent, go. We are ridiculous. Oh, funny is that, chasing after everybody. I can't believe Alicia, though. That was really sneaky. The fact that I thought that she was going to stop on the road and then not go any further. But she maneuvered me and she went around me. Very, very, very good. She's obviously picked up a couple of things since she's been in South Africa. Ah, sneaky girl, that one, hey? Full of surprises. Oh my goodness, if anybody sees that we were chasing after wild dogs, you're going to have my back. Okay, Brent seems to have managed to relocate on Conrad and Alicia. Let's go back to him.
We've caught them. There we go. Conrad's trying to hide. He's running off to the... there we go. Alicia, smile, say hello. There we go. This is our Camp American. Rare breed in the Sabi Sands. Oh, she's blushing. Look at her cheeks. She's going so red. That was wonderful. Oh, it took actually, it was almost harder than tracking a leopard to try to catch up with those two. Alicia showed some skillful driving to try to get away from us. A police getaway. Yes, she's obviously had experience running from the law by the looks of things. But now there's a wonderful little spot through this fence where, actually, I think it was Daryl who broke the fence, that we can actually see into final control. We can actually see to Conrad's desk. We say, here we go. Can you see him? Is he hiding again? Oh, I think the glare's too bad. It's better in the afternoons. You can see straight through there. Okay, sure. Let's terrorizing our staff. And carry on, see what else we can find before the end of drive. But while we say goodbye, and we will keep you updated about what happens with the elephant during the day, if we do manage to find it. In the meantime, let's go say hello and goodbye to Tayla.
Look how cool this is. We were speaking of little bee eaters earlier today, and the fact that often people think that most of the bee eater species in fact migrate, but they don't. These guys are our little residents, and here is a place that we actually get to see them. It's going to land back on the same perch again. They always do that. They also like to hawk insects and fly up into the sky, kind of like how the nightjars do it, and then land back down on the same perch. And so do, well, we see kingfishers doing that too. Not going up into the sky, but diving down towards water or into grass, and then landing back on the same perch. He's gone to the one on the right now. He fooled you. He actually caught a little insect. He was cheeky. He's giving Seb a run for his money this morning. But they are beautiful little birds. I love the little masks that they have over their eyes. It looks like they've had their eyelashes tinted and they've got some serious... back again? Oh, no, there's the two over there. And then also put some serious eyeliner on. They are so cool, and they're quite gregarious. On a day like today, you can often find bee-eaters all huddled up with one another. They are gregarious, and so sometimes you'll have, 4 or 5 of them all lined up, and it's kind of a photographer's dream to get a picture like that. But they'll spend most of their day moving about as the wind blows through the grass and hopefully chases some insects up, or maybe a big herd of elephants or something comes on through and can give them a bit of a show as well. It's been very nice to see them. I didn't think that we would get a view of a little bee-eater today, not on a windy day like this, in fact. Very, very sweet. Perhaps they'll still be around for the afternoon. Wait, dropping right. Basically came right to the car. It's just gone to the right again. Anyways, it's been a wonderful, wonderful morning, and I hope that you've enjoyed the sunrise safari. Luckily, Tristan pulled a cat out of the hat, and we got to start our Monday off with indeed a leopard. Anyways, it's going to be a windy day out here, but we'll still be going out this afternoon for the sunset safari, so we'll see you all then.